Hi and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we are once again working out of the Poole's Diner Cookbook by Ashley Christensen and Kate Golan, I think. I don't think that's on this copy. Interesting. Anyway, today we are going to be making sweet potatoes with roasted Poblanos, chèvre, and Banyuls vinaigrette. I've already done a lot of the prep, but only things that I've shown you how to do on camera before. First off, so I've made vinaigrette the way that she says to. I think I did a sweet onion vinaigrette for the watermelon salad. Yeah, which was delicious. And I did it the way she says, with a bowl and a whisk. Today, I'm not gonna do that for this one. So I'm gonna show you how I usually make my vinaigrettes because it's a lot easier and I think it has the same results. I could be wrong. Forgot my tablespoon. So we are going to start with the way that she says to do it. And so we've got our minced shallot. I already minced it. And I'm gonna put this in this jar that I have that is big enough to hold the whole recipe of vinaigrette. And now I've got this is the Banyuls vinegar. It is a red wine vinaigrette imported from France. It's a particular kind of red wine vinegar. And it is like cask aged or something. I don't know, I bought it off Amazon. There probably is a resource in the back of the book where you can get the same kind she gets or whatever, but I found this on Amazon. Came pretty quickly, kind of expensive, but not too bad. So we're gonna add the vinegar, and this has to sit for 15 minutes to sort of let the shallot flavor get into the vinegar and sort of pickle the shallots a little bit. So while that's happening, okay, I'm going to cut up the onion and poblano peppers. So this is a red onion that we charred on a cast iron skillet. There was, summer squash. There's a summer squash salad that we made for that and did the same kind of thing. And they were charred, they were seasoned with salt and charred only on one side, you can see, and then you put them on something, a plate or whatever, to rest until they're room temperature. And now we're going to cut them into approximately 1/4 inch. But we're gonna do that sort of like, she says, like a tic-tac-toe board. So like this. Trying to keep it together to make this easier. And then like that. All right, so I'm gonna do that with all of this red onion, and then we'll deal with the poblano pepper. So I'm done with the red onion, and in case I didn't say, they were slabs cut about 1/2 inch thick. Just in case I forgot. So these are poblano peppers that we have roasted, charred under a broiler in the oven, like we did for the pimento cheese recipe that also came out of this book. That was red peppers. These are green poblano peppers, slightly spicy, not too spicy. And then we peeled them, we left them in a bag. I put them in, she says put them in a bowl and cover them with plastic. I put them in a plastic zip top bag, let them sit for 15 minutes and then peel them without running them under water, because that will lose some of the flavor. I got as much skin as I could off. I don't think quite all of it came off, but it will be fine. And now we're going to cut it into approximately 1/4 inch dice. So just to go with this red onion. do that. And then got as many seeds out as I could, but looks like a few slipped through, but that's okay. All right. So I've got my poblano peppers and my onions all cut up and in my bowl. One thing I did neglect to mention is that I have the sweet potatoes that I'm going to be using for this recipe in the oven. They were just whole sweet potatoes. She calls for medium ones. I only had kind of small ones. I had like one medium one and the rest are kind of small. The recipe calls for 6. I am having that part of the recipe. So I'm doing 4 of the sweet potatoes that I have. So 1 medium and 3 small, because my kids will not eat sweet potatoes that have been baked and baked whole like these are. And I'm just not going to worry about it. I am not having this part of the recipe because I know that I can do something else with this or whatever afterwards. Put it in eggs or whatever. Put it on top of anything and I'm sure it will be delicious. Just eat it all by itself as my husband is miming in the background like he does quite often. So that part is halved for me due to other reasons, but this part is not. So making the whole recipe of the vinaigrette and the whole recipe of the onions and peppers. But we still have about 7 minutes before our shallots will be done. So we'll be back when that's done and finish up the vinaigrette. So our shallots have been marinating in the vinegar for about 15 minutes now, and we're ready to continue with the vinaigrette. I have a measuring spoon that is exactly right for what I need here. So we're gonna add some Dijon mustard. And then some honey. I'm trying to use up the last of this good honey that I had. I think it'll be just about right. There we go. I used most of this to make honey buns a while back. And I just want to get as much out of the spoon as I can. And all that we need to add right now is a pinch of salt. She says to go light on salt and probably don't put pepper in it so that later you can put it on whatever you need to. However salty the ingredients are, you don't have to worry about this being extra salty, and the pepper will be more fresh if you just add pepper afterwards. Anyway, so this is what I do. I just shake it up. Instead of whisking, I just shake it up. All right, and then it gets pretty emulsified. That's good. I'm gonna go ahead and close this one up. I'm gonna have to get more mustard. And then I just add all of the oil. I'm pretty sure that's everything. Yep, that's everything. I'm gonna add all of the oil into this jar. See? And we're gonna shake it again. Pretty much the same result that you get with a whisk. I find it a lot easier and uses less equipment, and I can throw this in the dishwasher and put it in the refrigerator when I have leftovers. So now we add some of this. I'm just using the same measuring cup I had my vinegar in earlier. Add some of this to the poblanos and red onion. And we're gonna let this sit while we wait for our potatoes to be done. It looks like they're gonna be done pretty soon. I checked them a minute ago and they were almost fork tender. They were almost all good. So we've roasted them whole with the skins on, and we have to let them sit for about 20 minutes to cool down enough to take the skins off. But I will come back and show you that process when they come out of the oven. Our potatoes came out of the oven. They roasted in a 350 degree convection oven for 50 minutes or so. If they're a little bit bigger, they probably would take a full hour. So 50 to 60 minutes is what she suggests, just on a tray with some aluminum foil, because they do tend to leak a little bit. You poke them with a fork about 10 times each, did that. And so they will tend to leak some of the juice out of there. I use the same aluminum foil and pan that I used to char the poblano peppers to save on cleanup. But now they've been sitting for 20 minutes and we're going to peel them, trying to leave them whole. And they usually peel relatively well if they're cooked nicely and have been left to sit, but not until they are super cold. They will peel relatively well. Ooh, still pretty hot, but I'm gonna get this one done and then finish up with the rest of them before we slice them, so that they get a little bit cooler before I have to slice them. So I'm gonna just leave there we go. I'm gonna put these back on the tray just while I finish peeling the rest of them, and then we're gonna slice them up. So they've been all peeled, and now all I have to do is slice them into 3/4 inch coins. I'm gonna start with this first one that we peeled. I cut off the ends because sometimes they get a little bit woody, and put those on a serving dish. All right, so we're ready to assemble our dish. All we have to do is salt and pepper the tops of your sweet potatoes because they've had no seasoning whatsoever. And then, gotta get my pepper. All right, scatter this over the top. I'm gonna use about half of it. Like I said, I about have the recipe, so, but she says to cover as much as you can of the top. Now, poblanos are not supposed to be super spicy, but sometimes you get one that is a little spicier than the rest, and I think I've gotten one that's a little bit spicy, so that's yet another reason why my kids will not eat this. So, you know, we are going to have a hard time trying to finish this ourselves, but she does suggest that if you have leftovers of this, that you put it in a oven-proof baking dish and broil it until it gets a little crispy on top, and then serve it with an egg. So maybe we'll do that. Now we're going to crumble some goat cheese on top, some fresh goat cheese. I did not get sort of super special goat cheese. My husband doesn't like goat cheese, but he'll eat it. So I'm just gonna crumble about half of this 4-ounce thing over top, because that's about what I should do for a half recipe. I love goat cheese, so I would put all of it on there for myself, but you know, gotta learn to deal with the people we love and their differing tastes. Another thing I like about keeping my vinaigrette in this is when it's a little bit, comes apart a little bit, not very emulsified, I can just shake it up again. Don't have to go find a whisk, put it in a bowl, etc., etc. But now we drizzle some more of this over top. She says to use like the rest of it. She said like the other half cup, but there's way more than a half cup left in here. Oh, yeah, because she calls for a 3/4 of a cup of the vinaigrette. So I'm just gonna do this to taste. And I think that looks good. And that is the dish. So since I was sure my kids would not eat this sweet potatoes with roasted poblanos, chèvre, and Banyuls vinaigrette, my husband and I just went ahead and tasted it right off the serving plate. And for me, one of my poblanos was a little spicy, a little too spicy for me. It was good. It was sort of at the edge of the level of spicy that I can tolerate. But like I said, sometimes you get them so that they are really spicy and sometimes they are not. My husband didn't find them spicy at all. So that depends on your level of spice. But the sweet potatoes are pretty sweet and sort of help to mitigate that a little bit. If I didn't get too much of the pepper, if I didn't get a little too much of the pepper on it, it would have been better. I think my second bite got a bit much of the poblano for me, but it was really, really good. My husband still does not like the goat cheese, would prefer it with maybe feta or something on it. I love the goat cheese. So there we go. He loved the poblanos. I love the goat cheese. He didn't like the goat cheese. I am not a super fan of the poblanos, but like I said, usually like them. But anyway, it's a great dish. It was not really all that difficult. It takes like probably an hour and a half at least, because you could do everything else while the potatoes are roasting, but they have to roast and then cool so you can cut them up. So that time is pretty static, but everything else can happen while they're roasting. It doesn't require anything super special as far as ingredients. Cast iron pan. You probably could also use any other stainless steel, probably non-stick pan. Non-stick, you just probably shouldn't get it as hot as you need it for the charring of the onions. But not a hard dish. I think it's a beautiful dish. The orange and the green and the red onions and the white cheese, it all makes it look beautiful. Probably pretty impressive if you were having a dinner party, but it does make quite a bit, because like I said, this was half a recipe. So you'd have 2 big serving platters of this if you did the full thing. So if you enjoyed watching me cook this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, come back and watch me cook something else next week. What? More? What? You want more vinaigrette on there? You can add more to your portion if you'd like. So we're all done.